We'll have folks from the city, planning department, public works. We'll have the Sioux Falls Development Foundation. We have some folks from Smithfield coming, and we'll be kind of in different groups, and so there'll be drawings and stuff. So I invite you to come up and visit with us, like Butch said, one-on-one or in groups, and we'll answer your questions. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. Okay, I'm going to yell. Jump back off with the city of Sioux Falls. We're getting set up. We'll have people from the city, public works and planning and zoning. We've got the development foundation here. We'll have people from Smithfield, and we'll have different stations set up. And we'll just ask you to come by and visit with us, one-on-one or by groups, however, and we'll answer your questions. And like Butch said, we'll be here till 9 or until your questions are answered. Okay? So you give us a couple minutes to get set up. All right? Nobody from the DOT. We have. They asked about DOT. We have our transportation people here talking, and we are here. So
I was wondering, they broadcasted across the airwaves and stuff that China would not be able to purchase any land, especially your airport.
So we're gonna
military installations. We've got the air guard out there. We've got our air base. It's within a couple miles of where Smithfield is because of espionage. And evidently the mayor, all they left here, don't have a case deal we were running.
we're gonna have you come by and ask questions.
Again, there's coffee, water, coffee. Thank you.
This is a hornet's nest. I'm just gonna be here signing these papers.
You go hide in Carstens?
What's that?
You go hide in Carstens?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they had. It definitely had a good slide. Who's running the show? Who's running the show? Well, let's make it happen. They don't want to. Okay.
$220.
Well, mine goes all the right to the government.
Yeah.
Well, can you hear this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to set up one of these easements. I think so.
Can the state with these?
Hello. Okay, well, I'm gonna put the microphone over here. I guess if you got a question, one of these guys will answer it. I'll take it to him. So if somebody's got a question, let's have at it. Ask a question.
What about Homeland Security? We're kind of moving in next to our door, next to our air base and our air guard.
That one I can't answer.
No, you get it.
Well, how am I gonna know that?
Well, the government put up this stuff, saying that stop sale of land in China.
I understand. I'm not,
Military installation.
yeah. Well, you would think the governor and all those people would have thought of that.
Maybe somebody lined their pocket with a lot of money.
Yeah, that could be too.
I'll start off.
Ron Shaw, I live in Crooks, and I guess one of the things that concerns me the most is why I just found out about it on a news release 2 weeks ago, and I'm just guessing here, but this whole plan had to be in the works for years or more. Can anyone tell me why we were just notified when the governor of Sioux Falls mayor, excuse me, made the announcement.
Okay, can somebody answer,
We're gonna have people come up.
Yeah.
People like, this doesn't work.
yeah. Oh, it's,
That's the way we're doing it.
okay. All right, well, it's an easy answer to ask, or to tell, but,
We want people to come up and ask the question.
so,
Half of us get the information, half of us don't. Thanks.
Well, I think if you just come up and ask, we'll answer your question. If you want to ask a question,
they all want to know that answer. I think somebody should just be able to give that answer. Let's just give an answer and see where we go.
what was the question?
About why nobody knew until 2 weeks ago. Why nobody knew about this until 2 weeks ago?
Let Bob answer that.
Okay. Where's Bob or Dean? Huh?
He's doing an interview.
Oh,
He'll be back in.
okay, he's outside. Bob from Sioux Falls Foundation is outside doing an interview. I think he's coming back in right now, so we'll get him up here. I'm gonna get an answer to this question. Bob, can you come on up here a minute? The question is why nobody knew about it until 2 weeks ago, about Smithfield coming in.
Yeah, the agreements were signed on the Friday prior to the Monday's meeting, so that's why.
I know you can't come up with all these plans in 2 weeks.
Folks, that's not gonna get anywhere. They're doing what they do. That's Sioux Falls, the governor, and, you know, let's find out what's going on, what they're doing here. Right now, what is that answer gonna do? They've probably known about it for 6 months or a year, I don't know. You know, but how's that gonna change something right now? Let's get some information from them and look at this stuff and ask questions. Yeah, and what good's that answer gonna do? They've known about it for a certain amount of time. I'm on our side, but what's that gonna do? That answer? What if they say they knew about it a year ago? I don't know. Then what? We aren't, no, but it's not the city of Crooks. I'm sorry. I don't like this. I've lived here over 32 years. You think I wanna, have a town feel this way?
You had no indication.
I had no indication. Why would I know? I mean, why would you point the finger at me? Okay. No, I didn't. Had no clue. If you would have asked me, I would have guessed a Walmart, center like Amazon. That's what I always thought might come here. A few years ago, I heard it was gonna be a Tesla battery factory. That didn't happen. But I knew as fast as everybody else knew. So, what they do, they've evidently signed disclosures and didn't tell anybody, but right now, today, what if they say they knew just 3 weeks ago? What I'm saying is, how's that gonna change it right now? That's all.
I make a motion for anyone who has a question to stand in the line and get the microphone. So we can all.
No, you got a question, raise your hand, I'll take care of this, and I'll bring the microphone to you.
I guess my question is, there are multiple industry zones in Sioux Falls. Why this zone for this particularly, and why not maybe by the wastewater sewage plant?
As,
I can, there you go.
Jason?
Question. I think that's working. Is it working? Can you guys hear? Is that better? Okay. Good question. Question was, why is it this zone for heavy industrial and why isn't it somewhere else zoned for heavy industrial? Was that kind of the gist of the question? As you can see with our map here that we've talked about, this area we identified as heavy industrial foundation park since 2016. So it's been identified as heavy industrial in our future land use map since 2016. So we always knew heavy industrial was going to go here. Not exactly what type of the business, if it was Amazon, if it was Windchill, if it was CJ Foods, if it was Smithfield. But the City of Sioux Falls zoning ordinance for heavy industrial allows all those uses.
Welcome to Woodland, Iowa.
Here.
Are you talking about Holstone?
The one that Iowa wanted to come up here and build. How come you shut them down?
We didn't shut them down.
Who shut them down?
I believe they were bought out by a different company and then decided not to build. They still own the land there.
Yeah. Why don't we buy that land, shove that over there?
Because that's not the land that Smithfield's identified for where they want to go. I don't think that's 280.
I want to talk to whoever has the information on traffic. Who's the traffic person? All right, Andy. So one of the things that I'm hearing is they're going to do another study. I live down here on the corner where they changed the intersection a year ago. And that intersection is the second highest traffic accident section in the county except for the Wall Lake corner. They've changed it, it's improved. But the thing that has me concerned, let's just assume this ends up happening. This traffic study is only for up, I think, at the interstate is what that traffic study is all about. That traffic study needs to be 5 to 10 miles in this area. I mean, guys, think about it. People are going to be coming from all over with these pots of pigs. They're going to be coming from south, from the north, from the west. And where are they going to come? They're going to come down all of our county roads. And they're going to come to avoid the interstate. Because how many guys want to, or women, how many are going to want to turn against traffic and turn into this place? So you've got people coming off of 38, down the Hartford oil, people coming through the middle of Crooks, just to get to this corner so they can turn and take a right into this place. You can't tell me that there isn't any truck driver in this place that would say, that's the direction I'm coming. All of the people that are in this area are going to be having nothing but trucks and pots and fifth wheels coming down their side roads. And then the second part of this is, you've got the truckers coming in from this direction, eating up all of our county roads. We're paying for those now to be fixed. And now let's talk about the traffic for Crooks. Who's going to come off the interstate now and come down the damn death trap that's going to be down 258? That's a death trap to people. The kids, the older folks that have slower reaction time, sorry. But that's what's going to happen. And what are going to happen to them? How many accidents are we going to end up happening on that highway before something is going to be done? And then where are we going to go? We're going to take a right quick. Hold on. We're going to take a right quick, and we're going to come down the Skyline Heights Road, and then we're going to come in on 4th Street, because that's where we're going to go to try to avoid all of this. Or for people that want to avoid all of the traffic, they're going to maybe go down 2 miles and come in on the gravel. So now all of our costs have increased for our county roads, all of the township roads, because we're going to ruin them because all the local traffic is going to come in and come around to try to avoid all this. So,
We don't care about these guys, they've already got their mind made up. We want to listen to her.
She made her point.
What?
She made her point.
Let's have
Well, let's get it.
So yes, there is a traffic study. There's a corridor study on 130. There's a corridor study on 258th. There's an interchange study. The corridor study was done in 2021. The interchange was studied in 2024. With this announcement, that traffic study is being updated. That's the one I referred to as in progress, with the new information that's being provided by Smithfield and with the information that we already know in that industrial park. And so, yes, those traffic numbers have been updated in the model, and that traffic study shows us what we need to do on 258th Street to account for that additional traffic flow. Yes, the update does, yes. And so part of that, those improvements are signalization or a roundabout, depending on what the design looks like for right-of-way. So there's signals in the study, signals identified at where Dawson Dairy Road intersection would be, at the employee entrance, and then we're putting in signals at Marion and 258th. Yeah. That's as far as the current improvements would go, yes. Yeah.
No, nothing being looked at further than just that area, down as far as the corner where all of this traffic is coming to through the town of Cook.
Because when you did the master transportation plan, that's all. That's the last one. Yeah. The consultant who did this, they said that the growth of Crooks was included in the corridor study on 258th as well. And so all of these studies have growth factors built into them. So the traffic continues to go up 20. The traffic studies got current conditions, 2030 expectations, and 2050. And so those are all growth factors that are in there. And that helps us, the city of Crooks, the county, all determine what improvements are going to be needed on day 1, on day 10, and then the counts are continually updated and traffic studies are updated. And so,
does this conditional use permit that's going to be discussed have any opportunity to have information added into it that requires things to be done in this community that forces some larger review of all of these roads and how the townships are going to cover the additional costs, how the county is going to keep up these roads with all of this truck traffic on it, because it doesn't go any further than that corner. And every oil road coming into this place and down the middle of Crooks is going to be destroyed. Not to mention how many people are going to be killed on those roads because of this.
the conditional use permit would be specific to that site, right, Jeff? Yes, yes. So any conditions assigned by the city council through the conditional use permit process would be specific to their site.
Tuesday night, I can go bring this up and demand that something gets put into that conditional use permit to talk about the additional traffic and the need of supporting this community and these roads.
No, it would only be tied to what they do on their site, like the berms that were discussed, landscape buffers, those types of things. It's planning. Jason or Jeff, is there any more to that? As far as your questions, I mean, the city of Sioux Falls, the city of Crooks, the Minnehaha County, we're always evaluating impacts to streets. We're going to be reconstructing 258th in that stretch because we don't want a road that's tore up or deteriorated. And so those things are the things that we're working with all the community agencies involved, the DOT, the county, and the townships.
And I believe that you guys are, but here's the deal. I've lived in this community since 1992. I've lived on that corner. I sat in the ditch with a woman that died in that corner. And I'll be damned if we're going to have another situation happen again where we add traffic to that corner and now I'm sitting in the ditch with a kid. You've got to have something more being done about the traffic and how they're coming in. Put some kind of stop of trucks coming through the city. No truck zone coming through the city. Put some kind of a control on what kind of traffic is going to be allowed coming up to that corner. You are taking this town and the people that live in this town and preventing them from getting home safely when they turn off that interstate. And that's not fair.
Yeah, like I said, working with all the agencies, we will review any unsafe conditions and make changes as needed. Thanks.
Andy, with that, I understand the exit and the highway improvement was on the 2030 plan. Is that being? It's my understanding that it was on the 2030 plan for the overpass and with the announcement of Smithfield potentially open in 2028. Is that advancing? Is that being done sooner?
We're working with the DOT right now on what options we have. As you said, it was identified at 2030. We're actively working with them on whether we can move it up, do a total reconstruct, or do some sort of an interim measure to add the safety needed and the traffic control needed. So that, I don't have that answer yet, but we're actively working with the DOT folks right now on that.
Mike coming over there with the mic.
This was probably right in line with the question about the location, and that question is, I can answer that. Yes, there were two other locations that were looked out and they were ruled out because they didn't have enough land to do it. I'm sorry? We bought 4 acreages. We didn't buy the Walker property or the other properties because we had this project in mind.
I want to add on to what that lady was talking about. I did some checking, and I don't know that most people know, but there's 100 semi trucks coming in every day with hogs on them, and that many going out with processed meat each day, plus the 3,000 cars that come in every day. I wanted people to know that. 200 trucks. Well, that's 200 trucks a day.
Okay, this is for the city. What are we gonna do about police, fire, ambulance? Anybody from the city?
Yeah, we will provide all those services. The new fire station is going to start being constructed here this year, and that's at 60th and Career, so kind of east of the Walmart. So that'll be the fire station. Obviously, it'll be under our police jurisdiction, and then it'll be part of who we use for ambulance.
How about some signs for Jake breaks?
I didn't hear that one.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Jake breaks? Do you have any signs you're gonna put up? I hear them every day. All day.
As a city here, we've got some up, we can put more up on our land. That's city of Crooks, also out by the interstate, but it would be up to the county and the city would be my guess. Who wants to take that question about signing and noise?
As far as the Jake break signage, we can certainly look at that, you know, as long as we've got standards to follow with our MUTCD book. Yeah, if it warrants that, we'll do that.
I have a question. Can you hear me okay? What is the reason why Smithfield is moving out of Sioux Falls? It's going to be a two-part question.
Because of the smell.
No, part of, because it, yeah, let's, okay, because My Crooks is like T and Brandon and Harrisburg, all these little communities that are growing. We have beautiful homes that are being built here, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 homes. When you look at this, Smithfield is going to be about 2.5 miles from the residential area of Crooks. I understand that Smithfield should move. I work down by Smithfield in the area. I know what it smells like. I know what it's doing to downtown Sioux Falls. People don't want to be down there because of this. And I understand that you want to broaden your area because yes, it is an eyesore with the Sioux Falls Falls, but you have the wrong location. This is wrong. That is fundamental. That Foundation Park is great for Amazon and FedEx and Avera. I'm amazed that these people have not come to you and said, hey, we don't want this smell in our products. If a good location would be the Sioux Falls Regional Livestock down by Worthing, because that's already got that in that area. This is wrong to put it here. You're close to a school. Everything that you don't want to happen in Sioux Falls, you're bringing it to us. You're bringing it to us. And we're growing. We are growing. Why would we want a livestock in our Foundation Park? And the decretion, how it depreciates our land value around here, especially and I went to the meeting last week, you could not guarantee that there wouldn't be an order. You've got all these trucks coming in and out. You said you have 2 shifts now, you're going to 3. It's too much for this area. You need to find a different location. I understand why you want to move, but you've got the wrong location.
Thank you. Anybody want to?
I'll agree that it's the wrong location, but my question is there a reason why you need to move before the infrastructure is built to support all that traffic? That just doesn't make sense from a project management standpoint. Smithfield has been where they're at for 115 plus years. Why can't you wait another 6 and build all of the intersections and road surfaces that need to be built to handle all that traffic?
It's very common that we build with industry, and so just in time, and so just like Amazon, I believe it was 21, we expanded the Marion Road interchange on I-90 the exact same time they were building. So we try to match the infrastructure timing with the industry. We don't want to be ahead. We also don't want to be behind. That's why, we've been working closely with the DOT because we know we're either going to do interim improvements or ultimate improvements to the interchange. And then the arterial street, Highway 130, just to match Crooks' growth and also the growth of this region would also be built for that opening day.
But your previous meeting, you had that 2+ years after Smithfield was being built. That makes no sense whatsoever.
I think just to clarify, so the original study for the interchange prior to Smithfield's announcement was for 2030. Because we started that interchange study in 2024, and you go through a number of alternatives to make sure that you're matching a good ultimate decision. Well, then, as Foundation Park, as you guys have seen, continue to mature, and we start to really get informed what the traffic counts are with Smithfield's timing, we've reached right out to the DOT and said we've got basically the study in hand. Let's update the traffic. And then let's also work together to see if we do interim improvements or ultimate improvements. But it's very common for us to do improvements in line with industry and not before.
Just a question too, you talked about development around Smithfield too. So if you've been in the downtown area, you will notice in the last few years there's been an improvement
in the odor, and Smithfield continues to make those improvements in their system. And if you look at the development that's happened around there, but our most popular park is Falls Park, with thousands of visitors a day. Jacobson Plaza, gets 2,500 kids there a day visiting it. Our downtown events are very popular. So, in partnership, I mean, they've really done a good job diminishing that smell. And I don't know if you want to talk about, but this will be the next generation of technology, wastewater. There's different areas that cause odor. Some of it will be enclosed and some of those types of things. So again, I don't think it's ever guarantees, but it will be improved from what it is today in the downtown location. And we've seen a lot of growth. We have a school, we have Whittier School, we have Laurie B. Anderson School close by. We have Falls Park right across the street. We have a lot of development, housing of all different levels all around it too.
Excuse me, Butch. So how many head a day are you going to do now with the new plant? Because it's 20,000 now, and I doubt you're going to do a lateral move. You're going to go bigger, correct? And then my second part is, what are you doing with all this wastewater that you pump into the Big Sioux now and poison? Where's that all going to go now? Is that going into a creek? I mean, because I heard it's being diverted into some water somewhere.
Yes, sir. The 20,000 head a day now is about a 30% increase to 23.5. The wastewater plant will be constructed. It'll still end up going into the river. It'll be the latest technology and control. So
Where is that going to go? Where does it go into the river from that plant? Because you're not right next to it.
We're working closely with Smithfield as they currently have a discharge permit at their current location. City of Sioux Falls has a discharge location. So there will be an analysis on location, but today it goes into the Big Sioux River. Ultimately, it will also, this plant will discharge into the Big Sioux River.
Directly?
And that will be
directly, not through a creek?
Right, it'll go to the river. Yep.
You got pipes 2 miles to the river? How are you gonna get to the river?
There'll be a piping system to get it to the river.
Yeah, this isn't concrete, there's nothing concrete.
There you go.
I have a question. I am from the Clear Lake area. Hog trucks come day and night through the city of Clear Lake. Hog trucks drop things. They are not enclosed. So even though the plant is going to be really fantastic, how many trucks do you expect a day that are going to be coming in? And those are hog trucks, that are dropping things. And I will go on to say that the road south of Clear Lake is just destroyed. The roads are being destroyed. So they're hard on roads. And how many hogs? 20,000. How many trucks is that a day? Total. And you're going to increase that.
That would be the number. What was that question? What was that answer?
How many trucks? And that's the trucks. What about the employees that are working there? That's going to increase our traffic also.
That's just the hog trucks. That's not everything else. That's not all.
The traffic is going to so increase and the trucks and there's no way to contain those. I don't care, trucks are trucks, it's going to be, there's going to be, yeah.
How many trucks go out and finish product a day? About 250 a day. That's half on the 48. So they're all semi.
These guys are lost. In and out. You have no infrastructure to support that.
So is there, so the TIF you're asking for is 90 million, right? Or 180 million in sewer, water, streets, roads, such? So, and we're gonna build a new wastewater plant, pump it all the way back to a river somewhere. Why not save tax dollars and move it over where the sewer wastewater plant is, where they're talking about the data center and the prison and everything else, and put it over there, and they can utilize all of those buildings and just add on to the treatment plant instead of building a new one. I mean, they've already put, what, 30 to 50 million in the treatment plant at Smithfield in the last 10 years, probably, because of EPA regulations. Am I right?
Hang on, I'll get the microphone for you here.
Yes, sir. The question on the wastewater, there was an investment around $45-ish million in the current site.
Can you hear that?
Yep. Yes, sir. The current wastewater treatment at the site was about a $45 million investment. It was a biofilter setup.
Why are you abandoning that and moving?
Okay, I have a question. Have you talked to the railroad? Because we got a couple tracks coming through there that I'm really concerned about. It wasn't that long ago that we lost a couple people up at the railroad up here by the gas station. I don't know if you guys remember that. Are you gonna put in lights by the railroad tracks on both sets? Because that's a spendy deal, and I really don't think that the county should have to absorb that.
The crossing on 258th or Marion? Marion, we're going to be building an overpass starting this spring. And so that one will be taking trucks over the railroad tracks. 258th, I don't want to speak for the county on that. So I don't know what the current plan is for any further improvements besides the current lighting that's there. So overpass on Marion though.
About 1:30.
That's 258th, yeah. Yep.
Okay, we got another question here.
Thank you. So you guys need a $90 million TIF. Can you not afford it yourselves?
The TIF, a couple things about the TIF. First of all, the TIF is funded by the taxes that they pay. And they only can get back the amount of taxes that they pay. So it's a developer TIF, so there's not an extra burden on the taxpayer. So just want to get that out there. The other thing was, as we talked through the process and talked through the benefits to this community, one of the things was that some of the initial discussions was having them put their wastewater through the Sioux Falls system. And in return for that, we did not want to, it's saving our capacity of those 2 million gallons a day. They currently have that permit. They're currently doing that discharge, so it becomes kind of a neutral to have them do that. This is a way to assist them for that. It helps us save the 2,500 jobs in the community and the many other jobs, indirect jobs, the effect on the ag community, and then it actually opens up, of course, that land for redevelopment. So those things combined were the incentive for the city to participate in the TIF.
Then my next question, I might have two more questions. My next question is that right now the census at Smithfield is 3,200. What will it be when you've, with all new innovations, how many parking spots you're going to have? That will really tell us how many people you're going to have there on your 3 shifts, because I'd like to know how many people are actually going to lose their jobs.
Yeah, regarding
All right, regarding the parking, we're aligning and looking at the maximum amount of parking, which is in the truck study. That is assuming that every single person is driving to the site, which isn't the case between carpooling and other various ways to get to work.
So how many people are losing their jobs with this new building?
I do not have that answer, but the anticipation is that we will have jobs for everyone who's working there and continue to innovate for the ability to make a modern plant. As part of that, it's providing a facility that has the right space to do the right odor mitigation and address the concerns that a lot of the community here has.
Okay, that really was an answer. So my next question or statement, I suppose, is that this is a generational mistake. Whatever the Sioux Falls mayor and the governor said, this would change our children's generation. I just want to let you know how badly you will be affecting our children in the next 20 years. Our property values, our landscape, we will decrease 30%. So that $600 million home, that $1 million home, subtract 30%. That's what you guys are going to do. You're going to destroy our landscape, destroy our living, and like whomever said, someone's going to die. Multiple people will die with this DOT bullshit. 38 and the new 470 needs a stoplight as well. It needs to be 10-mile radius because we're going to divert that way. We're not going to want to go to 86. Exit 86. We are not. You are destroying our children's our legacies for our children. And I am angry and frustrated and I'm ashamed of absolutely all of you, and you should be too.
Getting warm in here.
Good evening. I have a couple of questions, comments. I think that, there are some definite benefits to having, an employer here and people to work for. But I also have some concerns. And a couple of things is that we're going to give you this TIF and we're going to give you, a lot of things. And one of the questions is probably the first and foremost is, what are you going to give back to the community? For example, we just put in a new childcare facility here, and childcare is very scarce in this region. Are you anticipating that you will support building a new childcare facility, grants, this and that kind of thing? And I mean, there's related things to that. And then the other thing that I would like to ask, maybe I should wait for an answer to that. I'll just keep going. Okay. So now I have some concerns as to whether Smithfield is a good neighbor or not. And I'm going to say allegedly to all this. I'm not a lawyer, but I think that's what they tell me to say. Allegedly, OSHA cited Smithfield Packaged Meats in Sioux Falls for failing to provide a workplace free from recognized COVID-19 hazards, which resulted in a major 2020 outbreak in which at least 1,294 workers at the Sioux Falls plant, some people I know, contracted COVID-19 and 4 employees died. All right. Allegedly, Minnesota regulators fined Smithfield Packaged Meat Corp. $2 million over illegal child labor practices at its St. James, Minnesota plant, where at least 11 minors aged 14 to 17 were found doing hazardous overnight work, such as operating power-driven meat processing equipment. I say allegedly. I can't have no way to verify this. Okay, and there's a thing in North Carolina. People can look it up. So, and then finally, Smithfield is owned by a Chinese company WH Group. True or false? Can someone just give me a quick true or false? Okay. And there is allegedly, again, documented links to the Chinese state and Chinese Communist Party. Now, that's alleged. That may be a stretch, but I think that it may be reasonable. They're expected to align with Chinese 5-year plans and broader state objectives, whatever that is. Okay, and then finally, and I don't know how true this is either. Again, allegedly, I know that there's alleged that Tyson, for example, Tyson, they have farmers raise chickens, and if, for example, they buy the chickens and there's competition among the chicken growers, and the better you do, the more you get business. But if you're a farmer and your chickens get bird flu, okay, again, allegedly, the farmer is just gone. And there's, you know, as far as I know, Tyson doesn't reimburse them. Whereas, you know, if Tyson reimbursed them, and it could be completely false, you know, these are things, with the internet now, nobody knows what's true, what's AI. And I'm just wondering if the same kind of thing goes on in hogs. I don't know whether it gets swine fever or whatever they get. If you have a farmer that has his hog herd wiped out by swine fever, you know, he's a farmer. He's been doing it probably 4 or 5 generations. Who knows? His kids, grandkids. Are they going to distribute the losses among, you know, the producers and the consumers and Smithfield? Or are they going to just let that guy take it on the head? So, you know, I don't know. I am concerned about, personally, I'm concerned about the odors because we're essentially straight up wind about halftime here in Crooks, and I don't know what that's going to do to our property values. I'm certainly going to file a property tax evaluation appeal. I got like 3 days to do it, and I'm appreciate your time.
Anybody else? Mike, you got somebody? Okay.
Question. An answer. Can I ask some questions? Sure. There's a competitor in there.
Somebody's giving me shit because I kept trying to take the microphone. I know.
Well, I'll go. Property that is a Tri-Valley School District, property owners could still end up paying a higher levy for 2 funds. The general fund for the school district will get supplemented by the state aid formula to education. That is for the general fund only. Then there's special ed that's dealt with differently. But there's also capital outlay, which is accumulating money for future needs throughout the whole school district. And there's also bond or bond redemption to pay for current obligations for such things as new buildings recently built. Those are required to be paid. The school district has to pay for the bonds that they've incurred. And when they predict what the school district is able to handle, they always factor in growth. Now, the growth in and around the area that's proposed for Smithfield will not be growth for the school district for 20 years approximately. So the levy, the amount that you pay for capital outlay and bond redemption has to be covered. Smithfield won't be paying their part. It will be paid by all of the rest of the people in the Tri-Valley School District.
We don't want your burden.
No tip, no tip.
No tip for sure.
No tip.
So the argument that your taxes aren't going to go up is wrong. Everybody knows.
Well, I don't need a microphone.
I think nobody wants to live by a slaughterhouse. I mean, why do you think people in Sioux Falls are jumping up and down so happy that that's moving out? Nobody wants to live by a slaughterhouse. It's the smell, it's the people running around, it's the truck. Are you guys gonna live by that? Are you guys gonna move over here by it? Exactly. My point exactly. It's not only the smell, it's not only the traffic. There's gonna be pollution up and down all the roads. There's already people throwing beer cans out in the ditches these days. Think what it's gonna be like with all these guys. Yep. If I wanted to live in Swaziland, I'd move to Swaziland, but I don't want to. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I understand that if, in a heavy, industrial zone, if they're building, Smithfield is building, they have to be 1,000 feet from the residential property line. And I understand that currently that's not going to be met, and that on Monday night, the city council is going to meet and ask for a variance since Smithfield will be 800 and some feet from the property line. What's going to happen if the city council doesn't get that variance?
That's not true. The ordinance requires 1,000 feet from a heavy industrial use to a residential property line. If they can't meet that 1,000 feet, that's when you have to go for the public hearing that we did at the Planning Commission on Wednesday. And then obviously it was appealed to go to the city council a week from tomorrow on the 17th. It doesn't have to meet that setback. It just triggers a public hearing. The required setback for them would be 45 foot from 130 and from the west, because that's what the buffer yard requirement is.
If you had a home here, what would you do?
In Crooks, or? Well, you know, I understand what you guys are saying. I mean, I've heard some people say 2.5 miles from this new plant. I live within 2 miles of the existing plant.
How do you feel?
I don't smell it at all. It doesn't bother me at all. So that's where I live, south of it. So I'm just saying that I don't know. I mean, it's a ways away from, it's a similar distance than I am from it currently.
Okay, we got another question here.
I don't.
This is regards to the TIF. I heard the benefits for Sioux Falls. I've heard the benefits for Smithfield. This is Tri-Valley School Districts. What's the benefit of this TIF for our school district, or is there no benefit?
So during what the benefit of the TIF is that it gets this project to move forward to create the increment that's going to be generated by this project. So the property that's currently there today is valued at $2 million in assessed valuation. So that means there's only about $30,000 or $40,000 of taxes being collected that's being split between the school district, the county, and the city. Once this project's completed, the valuation of the property will be over $240 million, which generates an estimated property tax payment of $4.5 million per year. And that's then split between those three taxing jurisdictions. So during the life of the TIF, the general fund, there's three budgets there in the school district: your general budget, your capital outlay, and your special education. Your general budget is made whole, and it doesn't affect any negative impact on local taxpayers because it's considered an economic development TIF. And when it's an economic development TIF, the state says that that's when state aid kicks in to make the school district whole. Right now, Tri-Valley School District is not generating enough property taxes by the current taxpayers to operate Tri-Valley School. And so the state aid formula kicks in. And it does that for every school district in the state except for 5. There's only 5 school districts across the state that generate enough tax revenue, but they don't use state aid. Once the TIF's dissolved, that's all revenue then that won't be coming from state aid, but will be coming from the direct payment of the taxes for the general fund. The 2 other budgets that were mentioned were capital outlay, which there's no state aid backup to that, but you're also limited in statute on what the mill levy is for that. So Tri-Valley cannot charge or get more from the residents of Tri-Valley School District because it's capped in statute. So what happens is because it's in a TIF district, the valuation that's created isn't realized until after it's done. So the general fund gets made whole by state aid, the capital outlay budget isn't impacted negatively, but you don't get to calculate it based on that growth until after the TIF's finalized after the 20 years. The last budget is the special education budget, and that's, again, statute dictates what they can charge, and that's based on a population. That's a different calculation than all the others, because it's based on how many students in that school district need special education. And then there are state programs that help back that up, but you don't realize the full growth and be able to calculate on the full growth until after the TIF is dissolved. So the benefit to the community long-term is that all of that assessed valuation will be coming through the taxes that will pay for the budget for the school district. When we look at everything that's happening in Foundation Park, there's over $200 million, or there's roughly $200 million in valuation today that's not in a TIF district. None of that valuation existed until 2015 when Foundation Park was announced. So that's all new revenue and new taxes that's being collected through all the taxing entities.
That's something that I don't get. A lot of places that they're coming here in South Dakota and they're building a new place and they're having a tax right after 20 years. So how's that gonna affect us?
The way TIF works is they pay their taxes and then it's reallocated back to them through the TIF agreement. As I just explained, it's how the school district is made whole through all of that. The city and the county don't realize any growth until after the TIF district's dissolved. With no TIF, this project wouldn't have happened.
Okay, we got another,
So what is the economic benefit for people trying to make a living wage or actually be able to afford a house and not be under the poverty line by like under $36,000 a year? Because I mean, you can't live here in Crooks if you're making $36,000 to $45,000 a year unless you're living in an apartment next to the school. What are you guys planning on that, or for that, I suppose?
So I'll speak to property taxes because that's a big topic these days. And if you understand property taxes, single-family homes pay the lowest rate. And commercial and industrial pay twice as much on a rate, plus you've got the larger valuations. And so in communities that are growing, it's important that the industrial and commercial base grow because that actually will put more tax dollars into the property tax bill. And actually, and despite some of the rhetoric we're hearing these days from Pierre, actually that's one of the tools that can lower property taxes on single family. But if you're too heavy in single family, it's very difficult for those homes, even at $400,000 and $500,000, to pay for the services between the school district, the police, the streets, and all of that, snow removal, all of that, for those homes to actually pay for themselves. And so that commercial growth is important to balancing your property taxes. And so if you look at growing communities like Sioux Falls or like Brandon, where they have a lot of commercial industrial base, that really helps their property taxes in the long run.
We have not.
how do we know that Smithfield is the best choice?
One comment I would make, I'm Jim Monroe, so I'm late. I'm with Smithfield Foods and late plane arrival, so apologies for being here late. But one thing I would comment as far as our positions at the new plant, because of the automated high-tech nature of the plant, we expect many of the jobs in our facility to be higher skilled positions and therefore higher wages. And we already pay a pretty good wage with good benefits to our employees. So I think it creates good opportunities for the employment base here.
We've got a questioner here.
I don't know if the Sioux Falls School District's here or not.
Sorry, is that better?
So I don't know if the city, so let's say this TIF passes. By the way, from what I can find online, Smithfield made $1 billion last year, net operating profit. So correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but $90 million isn't going to break their bank. What's to say to keep this district from taking it back in 20 years? Or sorry, what's to prevent Sioux Falls School District from taking those funds in 20 years? By then, my kids will be gone. It moved out by then. So until the state redistricts?
School district boundaries do not change. It's nothing that the school district can do. It's nothing that the city can do. That's the state. And school district boundaries, if you look at the map, they're very jagged and actually quite, right? And a lot of that is, so once you have a taxable valuation for your school, your bond issuance, all that's based off of that. And if you start taking that away, you strand the investment. And so that's why you don't see these school district boundaries change. You'll see school districts that will agree to swap once in a while because of transportation or whatever it might be, or there's a small stranded parcel of land. But the boundaries pretty much stay the same. That's not something that the Sioux Falls School District or the City of Sioux Falls could control.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. I have another question. I'm sorry, the man with the microphone. What was your name?
Jeff, I'm Jeff Eckhoff. I'm the Director for Planning and Development Services for the City of Sioux Falls.
Okay, well, thank you for speaking so much. I appreciate it. You had mentioned.
My wife says I talk too much, so.
No, that's all right. Hey, me too. Look at me. I'm over here again. But you gentlemen had said something about the growth that is expected, but I'd like to know what you expect to grow here besides trash. And I would also like to know, you said something about commercial property, etc. We have zero. How many? We can count them on both of our hands. No more than 10 commercial businesses here in Crooks. I, as a small business owner, would love to own something in Crooks. I cannot because of how much the property is here. So we have no choice but to wait for corporate companies to say, hey, we'll come in for a $90 million TIF and then rent you that space for $3,000 a month. So raise the commercial taxes because it's not in Crooks. It's not here. And how is it ever going to get here with Smithfield coming in with your trash operation? It's not going to happen. You are going to kill us on the roads and in this town. You're going to kill this town.
And who's here from the city of Sioux Falls? Right, thank you.
Don't you do it, Butch. Tri-Valley School District will not get any more funds for the next 20 years until the TIF is paid off.
No, but we'll get them all on the road though.
Is that a true statement?
20 years.
Is it a true statement that Tri-Valley School District will not get any more funds, any additional funds, until the TIF is paid off, which is expected to take 20 years? Is that a true statement?
The way school budgets work is there's a calculation that's set out by. If the state formula dictates that you need more funding coming in, the state aid formula will kick in and make up the difference.
Where does that money come from?
It's collected by the sales taxpayers across the state.
So who's paying all those sales taxes?
Your money for 20
Everyone that spends money in the state.
So Smithfield comes in, they cost us all a lot more money we have to update all these roads and bridges and railroad crossings in order to allow them to come in, hurt and devalue all of our property values. And for that, we're gonna give them $90 million while we continue to hold the burden of all of those costs to allow them to come into our community. Is that what you're telling us?
Is he here?
So I would just say that the improvements that we've talked about, the overpass, the improvements on Highway 130, all of those are being paid for by the City of Sioux Falls.
Our tax here now. The point here is that Smithfield isn't paying any of the money to help them build
this new building that's gonna devalue our properties and help make them, what'd you say, $1 billion last year?
Respectfully, one thing I would add, in addition to the 3,200 employees that we support in this area, we support a lot of indirect employment. There are a lot of businesses in Sioux Falls and this whole region that depend on our business. And I say that respectfully. I understand your concerns, but we are an important economic driver, not only in this region, but in the agriculture economy. There are hog farmers, there are crop farmers that depend on this business.
And what's the incremental change to those jobs based on your move compared to the reduced input costs you're gonna have because of the automation in your new plant?
We expect to be more productive. I don't know exactly how many jobs are going to be here, but it's going to be close to the same. We're going to be a more productive, more efficient operation, and those jobs are going to be higher skilled jobs, and therefore they're going to pay more. It's going to be an important step in developing the workforce here. I'm sorry? Yes, exactly.
I think all of us have the opinion. First of all, hi, I'm Lisa. Thank you for the media who's here tonight. Thank you for the representatives that are coming tonight. We're grateful that you're here. I know that it's a controversial meeting, but we are grateful that you're here for each one of you. I think all of us feel like, yes, you're an important contributor to Sioux Falls, right? We're grateful that you're in Sioux Falls. I think you could be equally effective at a different geography and still support all the local farmers and all those things you just outlined 5 minutes ago. You could be equally powerful and not crush our district here.
Understood. I would finding this plot of land that is already zoned for industrial use that is close to our existing employment base is a pretty unique opportunity. I would just point that out.
So that's actually exactly where I want to go with this question. Bob, I want to understand. I think a lot of us are confused, and I keep hearing this in Facebook chats and a whole lot of other places. Help us understand. Foundation Park owns this land. Smithfield, are you renting it from him? Are you leasing this land? Because we all don't understand how a foreign entity can own or build in a space that you aren't supposed to be able to, foreign countries can't build in. So are you leasing from Foundation Park? How is this working?
I'm familiar with the law, the South Dakota law you're referring to. It does not apply to industrial property like this.
So Smithfield is actually going to own this property?
Yes.
So we will have China owning a chunk of land?
Ma'am, I'd be happy to explain our ownership structure if you'd like to. Okay. We were acquired by WH Group, which is a Hong Kong-based company, in 2013. That company is publicly traded. It has many foreign investors, many that you've heard of here, based here in the United States. Very transparent company. We are not affiliated with the Chinese government. We do not do work on behalf of the Chinese government. Our management team is based in Smithfield, Virginia, where we were founded 90 years ago, run by a U.S. management team.
So Smithfield is owned by a foreign entity, but yet you as the Smithfield business in where'd you say, Carolina, where?
Smithfield, Virginia.
Virginia is who bought the land over here?
Correct.
So, okay.
By the way, that transaction hasn't been completed.
Okay, so it's smoke and mirrors, we understand. So the second question then is back to Smithfield. You can hear from this community. One, and I'm going to say it out loud, look around the room and look at who these people are. You don't see a lot of color in here, do you? You're bringing in people that live differently than we do. And that scares the hell out of a lot of us. It's not that we are against people that live differently. It's that these people, we already know how they live. And it scares us a little bit because it's not who we are as a community, and it's going to change us. And I'm going to be an open book about it. That scares a whole bunch of people in this room, and that's what they're trying to say. The second thing is that the gesture in kind is what I'm asking about. This community, if we are stuck having Smithfield come in, we can't get rid of this situation. What are you going to do for us? We've talked about the TIF. We've talked about the money that we aren't going to get in this community. I work in a business where I know that companies your size do gestures in kind. Don't get mad at me for asking about this. Is there conversations about this town? You guys got together and started having conversations about this. Did you talk about maybe what you're going to do for a community like ours? How you can help us out? I mean, be honest with us.
Ma'am, I manage, if you're looking at this with racial, overtones, I think we can just about be done. That is a racial overtone, ma'am. I take personal offense to it.
We're very proud of our workers too. And in every location we have, we're very proud of our workers.
Will you be retraining your workers?
I want to address your question about community. Community is one of the most authentic, important parts of the Smithfield Foods brand. We do incredible philanthropic work in all of our communities, including Sioux Falls. We haven't had discussions about Crooks yet. It's 3 years out. If you look at our track record, I'd be happy to share information with you. We invest significantly in our communities in all sorts of ways. And it starts with hunger relief, education, supporting our veterans, our first responders. I could go down the list.
No, but you're in Sioux Falls, though.
You got anything?
We are Crooks. We are not Sioux Falls where you're building, right?
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure there is an expectation here.
I'm very proud of what our facilities do for the surrounding areas everywhere we operate.
Any other questions? How many what?
We didn't fight for this country to sell out to China. We want this place built. Don't build it in China. Don't build it here.
We make all of our product.
You got the water permits and everything else. Just leave it where it is and rebuild it right where it is. Don't bring it into our community. You don't want it.
I just want to tell you what we do at Sioux Falls. We harvest hogs from independent producers raised on American soil. Those pigs consume crops raised on American soil. The product is manufactured here in America and it's consumed by Americans. I don't know that anything that's much more American than that. That's inaccurate. We ship no meat to China.
Okay, we got one more. We got a question right here.
You say you're community-based, you're coming in and you're getting a $90 million TIF for 20 years. You're taking that money away from our children. Why does it have to be 20 years? Why does it have to be so much? Our property taxes are going to the roads, all of the things. What are you doing to take care of all of those things and our children?
That was the agreement that the city negotiated with them, was the 90 million.
As Sioux Falls City.
I got it now.
So the Foundation Park development, I think Dustin talked about the amount of additional, would you let me finish, please? The amount of the additional property taxes and the amount that will be coming off in future years. Your state aid formula, basically what happens when the school districts turn in a budget, it's not like they just get extra money. I mean, it's based on the budget they turn in. They look at local property taxes and state aid brings in the rest. So the budget kind of stays the same. What really helps your budget grow is growth and number of students. That is the term that's allowed under state law. And during that time, you'll continue to get state aid to make up. In the interim, other properties will get built, other things will come off, the other TIF will come off, and those taxes will continue to increase your tax base. And that growth will continue from that effort. So, and I appreciate your comment. I understand we're not going to agree, but I do appreciate your comment and you being here. Thank you.
I got one here. Oh, we got the mic here.
It was stated at the Sioux Falls Planning and Zoning meeting last week that,
he admitted that there is a large share of your employees that do not drive to work. I understand that there was something said about a busing service that would bus employees out. I just want to know what that looks like, and realistically, how soon do you expect that expense is going to become too hefty where housing has to be built out here for those workers? So I'd like you to talk about that.
So currently, we have citywide bus service through our on-demand, and that is serving the Amazon facility today. We've been studying Foundation Park for our transit service. We know that with Amazon, we've been watching closely what happens when CJ Foods comes online, and obviously with Smithfield. I've had conversations with Frank Kern, the local manager, about a future bus stop and making sure that we have that, because that'll be kind of at the end of the route, and we're talking about site layout to make sure we have room for a bus turnaround and bus drop-off. I did ask our transit coordinator today how many people use the bus stop that's at Smithfield today per day, and she said about 16 people.
Got a question? I've heard a couple of people say property values are going to decrease by 30%. Is that correct? Do we get compensated? Is anybody responsible? How do we get that back?
Smithfield, you gonna call up the cost or what? That's a big cut.
Anybody? Anybody?
Everyone take responsibility for our legacy being dead.
Okay.
No homes out here for $1.2 million. They're never gonna get that money back.
I have something to say. I'm kind of nervous, but I moved to Crooks about 3 years ago. Love this town. I'm nervous about the devaluation, and just the traffic kind of going back and forth, and all the people that had to lose their homes because of it. And I drive around, I think, isn't there a better spot that wouldn't be so close? And I have to say some comment about, it's not about the difference in race, and I hope you guys all agree with me, and if you do, clap, because that is not this community. There's no worry about that. I mean, anybody can move into this city, right? Yes, and I just wanted to make that clear that that is not how people feel. So I hope you agree with me, basically.
I'm Patty Kleinsesser. I live in the Primero Park addition here, just north. In my neighborhood, I'm really nervous, so bear with me, guys. It seems to me that Sioux Falls is taking Sioux Falls' biggest eyesore, taking it out, putting it as far away in city's limits as you guys can go and still be in the city, and dropping it off in our backyard. We are a nice little community here. I know almost all my neighbors. I think everybody here sees me walking around every day. It's a safe little community. And my concern is the crime, our property taxes are going to drop. Sioux Falls is going to benefit from dropping Smithfield here. We're going to get kicked in the rear end, in my never to be humble opinion. And so I wish you guys could find someplace else, Smithfield. I wish you guys could find someplace else to take your, and my dad worked at Morels, and so I'm not against, it's just Crooks is not the right area. You need to find someplace else.
I understand your position. It's industrial use, and it has been zoned that way for a while. So I just want to respectfully disagree that we just dropped it. We dropped it here because it was zoned for this kind of use. I would also say, don't underestimate that's a 115-year-old plant in Sioux Falls. This is going to be a dramatically different type of plant. And I know you won't believe it until you see it, but new plants like this are not built very often in the United States. We have a really rare opportunity to build one that looks good, that is not obtrusive, that uses the latest technology to minimize environmental impact. Again, I know you won't believe it until you see it, but that's the plan.
Okay, I've got a question right here.
I have a question on, the plant that water treatment plant you're going to build. Is that going to be used entirely for Smithfield's use, or is that going to be used for some of the other businesses in that industrial park? And what's the 90 million TIF all going to be used for?
Yes, sir, it's just for Smithfield's use.
And Ethan, it's correct that we're going to save the city, I know that's not crux, but we're going to save the city significant money by doing all the pre-treatment on our land and then sending treated water to the discharge location.
That's correct. They've obviously, this whole process is guided by the State Department of Ag and Natural Resources. They have a permit today that they maintain. They'll have to obtain a new permit. We did go through the analysis whether we should take the wastewater or not, and to see what's the most effective long-term approach. And they'll basically, they've got today one of the most advanced treatment plants in the state on their current site, and that will likely be replicated, if not updated, with even new technology that's been brought on here in the last 5 years or so. So they've been good stewards to the environment. They've been great for the city of Sioux Falls. They're not moving out of Sioux Falls. They're going to still be in Sioux Falls, and there'll be a good process. We really, I would tell you, I think this has been a really good discussion tonight. We want your feedback. We also did bring a lot of detail on the maps that you'd be able to walk right up to that map over there, for example, and see what some of those roadway geometrics are going to look like, so you can have a comfort level that the traffic will be maintained. You've got a site plan with Smithfield, with Jim Monroe and Anthony and Josh, that you'll be able to interface with them and get up close and see what those site plans look like. The renderings, here's the Marion Road overpass, some of those. And so, Butch, if it's appropriate now, I would like people to be able to have a chance to.
We'll do that.
So maybe,
this lady, we got one more question. Then we're going to go on.
Last question.
Let these people look at the maps and ask some information.
Great, thank you.
No, I forgot to say this when I had the microphone, but I read an article when this first came out, and they were talking about it in Sioux Falls, and I don't know who said it, but it was printed out, that it said, just be thankful it's moving out of Sioux Falls. Remember that?
Okay, come on up to the board.
I'll just say that obviously we're not happy, we're not excited about it. If there's some way to stop it, I don't know. And then after that, what we need at the planning and zoning, at the conditional use, I asked for 12-foot tall berms with 12-foot trees, 35 foot apart, and they didn't even put that on there. That's a small thing to ask, but there'll be other people there that signed the petition for conditional use, but that would be the next meeting next week.
They're not going to do that. You don't know.
Butch, can I ask you a question before I go? Yeah. Why are we paying for 3 water towers? We got 3 on the bill. We're subsidizing 3 of them. No, we only have 2. That one and the new one. The new one. Yeah. Is that going now? Yeah. So then why are we paying?